Okay, so it turns out that I have no idea how to speak without a script. What's going on? RecBCQ signing on for another episode of Rex Room. Well, kind of. I asked you all in the previous video if you wanted me to talk about my childhood Digimon designs. You all seem to like the idea, so that's what I'll be doing today. For the sake of transparency, this will not be a live reaction. I originally intended on making it one, but I had a hard time dealing with the audio. A mixture of sounds being picked up that shouldn't, don't make that dirty, and me not being able to construct coherent sentences. Since I can't react to them twice, I'm just going to talk about them instead. Don't worry, I have some strong opinions, and not all of them are positive. To start off, we have Greymon, one of my favorite Digimon I've made. I'd say that it has a lot of character, especially when you consider I was roughly 7 or 8 when I made him. Out of all the Digimon I've made, he's probably the one that comes to my mind the most. It feels like I'm Takato from Tamers. I drew up a creature and somehow it becomes my partner. It's strange to say, but when I picture myself as a Digimon tamer, Greymon is always by my side. It's probably the drawing I cherish most from childhood. However, there are some things to make fun of here. For one, looking back at him, it looks like he has absolutely nothing going on in his head. I accidentally drew him cross-eyed and the open mouth just reads blissful ignorance. There's also that strange spike coming off the side of his head. You see, this is an example of something I do to this very day. When I want to design hair, by default, I always just add spikes. For some reason, my brain just can't comprehend hair, and 90+% of the time I just go spikes. I'm assuming that's what's happening here, but since it's just one, you can't really tell what it is. In terms of his body, the proportions are probably the best out of any Digimon I made at the time. Believe me when I say that this will not continue. As well, I also needed to make sure that we all know that he is 4 feet tall. I have no idea why I decided to do that, but honestly, I find it pretty endearing. I'm sure you can tell by this point that I love this little guy. I'm so fond of him that I commissioned an artist to help me recreate him. We established a more fleshed out design with Digimon style rendering. If you want to find out more about that, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell because that will have to wait for another video. Moving on from Greymon, we have Minimon. Oh, excuse me. I mean Mini-Mon and Pinchmon. Now, before we get to the designs themselves, I need to talk about Pinchmon's name. If you look under Pinchmon, you see Poke-Mon scratched out. I don't know why I would change the name. It seems perfectly fine. That was sarcasm. I find it hilarious that I managed to make that mistake. Pokemon has been my favorite gaming franchise for most of my life. That level of idiocy impresses me. Also, keep in mind that this will become a theme. Looking at these two Digimon, I think that these actually look real. However, that's only because baby and in training Digimon are all blobs with eyes and a mouth. Kidding aside, I think these guys are pretty cute. They actually have some personality in them. Pinchmon looks like a smug, confident Digimon. Then Minimon looks like he's looking at something he thinks is amazing. I guess Minimon also got the head empty vibe. It's funny to me because looking at it now, I realize it looks like Pinchmon is looking at Minimon extremely annoyed. Otherwise, there really isn't much to say about them. They're baby Digimon. However, along with Greymon, I redesigned these two as well. They have much more personality there. For this guy, you can see what I mean when I say the Pokemon mistake would show up again. To be fair, I had no idea that there was a Dracomon already. I'll give myself some credit on that one, but in terms of the design, I don't know if this can get many points. It's abundantly clear that this guy was supposed to be my Greymon equivalent. Why I decided that an unspecified mammal should evolve into a dinosaur dragon, I don't know. But it's no less absurd than canon evolution trees, so it works out. The thing is that when I remembered this guy, I never realized just how messed up he looks. As you can see, Dracomon has been in a terrible accident. How do I know that? Well, let's examine the victim. His head has been snapped, his eyes are close to popping out of their sockets, his arms have been dislocated to come out the torso, the tail is swollen, his waist has been crushed, one of his legs has been twisted like it was a balloon animal, and both feet have been broken and shrunk. I apologize for telling you about this victim's dark fate. Okay, I'm sorry, my mom watches a lot of detective shows. Based on what I just said, it would be easy to assume that I think this guy absolutely sucks. Surprisingly, I don't. While this version is a nightmare, I think with some reworking it would be pretty cool. With the way his body is, you could either lean into the Greymon influence or go the XVmon route and make him anthropomorphic. Not in an inappropriate way though. I like to avoid that part of the internet. But seriously, I think this guy has potential. Design elements like the spikes on the elbows and the flame patterns would work well. The Digi-Egg of Courage already has that pattern, so perhaps it would be Greemon's Courage armor evolution. Though it can't be. That comes later. To be honest, I actually even like this guy for how stupid he looks. For some reason, the brain dead trait won't go away. But it's nostalgic, and I would love to find a way to bring it back somehow. Next, we get the Flare Dracomon. First thing that I can give myself credit for is not making it the name of an existing Digimon. It sounds like a blatant ripoff of Flamedramon, but I give myself points for making it legally distinct. Again, we see that the design is completely changed, with the only constant being the color. It also looks like it was in an accident, but this time he looks like he got run over by a steamroller in Looney Tunes. As it's been for a few of these designs, it's so stupid, but I love it. I don't know what it is about me that makes me love hot rod patterns on my Digimon, but apparently child me had leaned into it hard. I think part of why I like it is that it gives off vibes similar to Flamedramon, which is up there as one of my favorite Digimon. It also makes me think of characters like Heat Blast and Swampfire from Ben 10. It pulls from some of my favorite shows as a kid, which makes it feel like a culmination of things I love. In terms of it deserving a redesign, I don't know about that one. It would accomplish the same thing if I redesigned Dracomon and used this body type as a reference. It would be redundant to redesign this one too. I love him, but he's probably best left in the past. At last, we reach the final form, of Greymon. His mega-level form, Robo-Dracomon. First off, you can tell that this Digimon is heavily inspired by the Terminator and RoboCop. I have no idea how, because I hadn't heard of either of these movies yet, but come on, this is totally what that is! If I had to guess, I imagine that Robo-Dracomon was inspired by Metal Greymon. Both of them have the attribute of looking like their prior form with some machine parts thrown on it. While Metal Greymon was well executed and is dope as hell, Robo-Dracomon looks like an alternate skin for a character in a mobile game. When I reacted to all these Digimon for the first time, I remember being quite fond of this one too. Oh, what a difference one day can make, because now my opinion has completely changed. While obviously I don't hate him, I think he's the least interesting Digimon so far. Considering he's supposed to be the Mega, it was pretty disappointing. On a brighter note, here we have Greymon's first armor evolution, Flaremon. Again, the unoriginal name theme continues, but I find it funny, so it's fine. If I remember, I'll try keeping a tally. This is a minor detail, but I would like to bring your attention to Courage. It doesn't matter at all, but stuff like this is what makes revisiting these things so fun. I think that there are some more typos later on, but this was the one that I found the funniest. As for the design, I actually really like this guy. Sure, his armor is just a bunch of broken eggshells, and his head looks pretty phallic, but I think that this is a pretty good draft. It resembles Flamedramon, but there's enough of a difference that he feels like his own character. Surprisingly, I feel like I actually had a good grasp on what an armor Digimon is supposed to look like. I can believe that Greymon is under that armor. Like the other armor Digimon, his body stretches to help it feel like an actual evolution. As for the armor itself, you can tell that I understood what the armor should look like. The color scheme is wrong, but I actually really like that. I find it fun to break the rules here and give him a unique color scheme. I think the black and blue meshes well with the orange as well. Red and yellow would make the design too much of the same few colors. Now we move on to the last armor evolution I made for Greymon, Subremon. I'm not even going to discuss how reliability is spelled because I need to address the design itself. This guy sucks. When I was originally reacting to all of these, this was the first time I looked at a design and immediately hated it. For one, this design completely ignores everything that makes armor Digimon what they are. You can see no trace of Greymon, Digi-Egg of reliability, or even armor in general. While Submarimon took a lot of liberties with the design as well, even he had Armadillomon's back pattern under its face. Subremon, by the way that's definitely not a crappy name, looks like I took hallucinogenic drugs and combined everything I saw into one design. The pattern makes no sense, the tip of the fins are yellow for some reason, the narwhal horn on its snout looks like an attachment, and why the hell did I draw him with his eyes closed? Okay, that was a lot. Now I should clarify that I don't actually hate this guy that much. That was mostly comedic anger. It's okay for it to be bad. It came out of the mind of a child. It's not like I had a 9 to 5 where I designed Digimon for a living. That would be awesome though. I just didn't like it in hindsight. It's one that I will probably never bring back because I would have to change it entirely. At that point, it isn't even the same Digimon. This Digimon was originally one of the last Digimon on this list, but I figured it was appropriate to throw it in with the rest of the line. As you may have noticed, I was using different types of Digimon as a template to make my own line. In this case, I decided to give Greymon a Dark Digivolution. I will say that I don't know how scary this guy is, but I can see a young kid possibly being freaked out by him. If you have a kid watching, I don't know why you would at this point, I'll put a timestamp to skip to the last Digimon. Here we have Cool Dracomon. You may be thinking that this looks absolutely nothing like any other Digimon in this line. You're absolutely right, and I have no idea why I made it like this. I actually love it though. As someone who had extreme anxiety as a kid, even then I was surprised I drew something that I thought was genuinely scary. Of course now it doesn't freak me out that much, but if I saw this guy in my room one night, I'd have a heart attack. One of the things that makes me like it is that the disfigured look of a lot of my drawings actually work to my advantage here. It looks wrong, like it shouldn't exist. Some of the unintentional details work for me as well. The eyes and pupils are different sizes, the strange head shape makes it look like it legitimately got disfigured, and the fact that it isn't in color makes it unsettling. The lack of color enforces that it's not of this world. You could even say that the lack of color harkens back to the old Alfred Hitchcock movies. Granted, that last argument is a little flimsy, but you get my point. Despite my praise, I also think that it looks like it's stressed with random costume pieces from Spirit of Halloween, inflatable muscles and all. Again, it all comes down to the potential I feel it has. As I look at it, I can already see how I would improve it. For one, I would exaggerate the claws. The original Greymon already has spindly fingers, so enhancing that could be very unsettling. Then I would change the head to look like an actual disfigured head. Take that flame with the eyes on the stomach and turn it into the face of the Digimon it evolved from, looking terrified and in agony. I'd do as much as I can to make it feel like this creature is a mistake, a glitch in the digital world. Even now, I'm still coming up with ideas for it. Out of all the Digimon so far, this is the one that has the clearest vision in my head. I do realize now that his head looks like a messed up tooth. Also, damn, even this one looks like an idiot. Why do all of my Digimon look like morons? You know, they say that the Digimon reflects the personality of its tamer. Shut up! Okay, we finally reached the last Digimon of the Greymon line. I said before that these Digimon are fulfilling different archetypes. Out of all of them, this is the most blatant example. Here we have Geo Dracomon. If it wasn't obvious already, this is supposed to be the equivalent of Geo Greymon from Digimon Data Squad, or Savers if you prefer the original Japanese version. Honestly, in terms of what it was meant to do, it actually does that effectively. Just as Geo Greymon was a slightly different Greymon, this does the same thing for Dracomon. If you compare the two, you can see just how similar they are. Even in terms of the drawing mistakes, it's similar. Somehow only his left side did leg day, the waist is strangely narrow, the head is drawn in profile as if it was a Phineas and Ferb character, and the limbs are different sizes and lengths. You gotta give me points for consistency. Again, like the original Dracomon, I still like him. Of course, a lot of the reasons are similar, but in some ways it feels like a genuine variant of the original. His posture and body composition are different, the patterns are different to make it unique, the spikes on its head were flipped forward to make it more distinct, and there's even the head of a trident on the end of the tail. Despite still needing a lot of work, I can see that same potential. Of course, I don't remember exactly what I was thinking, but this design, as well as a lot of the other designs, feel like I actually put thought into them. I actually came out of this impressed with myself. While a lot of these are based on other Digimon, they feel like I looked at the show, got a feel for what these Digimon are, and made designs based off of what I saw. Obviously, all these Digimon still look strange. Greymon and the babies are really the only ones that look good as they are. However, in terms of my overall opinion, I judge it off what it could be. I know none of these look like official Digimon, but I'd love to see the potential in them. I hope I could one day turn them into something that my younger self would freak out over. I did not expect to be as happy as I am about these designs. There are ones that I dislike, some of which will appear in a sequel to this video, but many of these surprised me with how they actually had a concept behind them. I hope you guys liked this video because I can't wait to show you more drawings. Please like, subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified when new videos are released. These may be some of the most logical designs I made, so you better believe it only gets stranger from here. 35 more Digimon worth of absurdity. Comment to let me know what you thought of these guys. I'd even love to see designs you came up with. Thank you all so much for watching. This is RecBCQ, signing off.